What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NBA podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin back on the show. What's up, Dustin?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, good to be back. We took a little break, but we're back. We got the NBA Finals going on, Game 2, in about an hour. Can't wait for that game. Um, what do you think of the NBA playoffs so far this year, Dustin, and these finals heading into Game 2? It's been pretty crazy. A lot of upsets, a lot of injuries, a lot of adversity that these teams have had to overcome to get this far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty shocking NBA playoffs so far, but, I think these are, barring injuries, the two best teams in the league right now, and we're seeing the two best teams play for the championship.
Were you surprised and happy to see Giannis back for Game 1?
Absolutely. I mean, the
Yeah.
Bucks without Giannis.
Yeah. And what do you think on the series? I mean, the Suns take Game 1. Chris Paul looking great. Do you think the Suns take the championship, and how many games?
See, this is a very hard choice for me, man, because I haven't been right all NBA playoffs yet. So
This year?
yeah, but I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul looks to be a whole different type of person this year. He wants it more than anything else in this world. So I think Paul steps up, and we're gonna see Game 6.
Okay. I'm hoping for a 7-game series. I think that these two teams are so evenly matched that we should get 7 games. I'm hoping the Bucks bounce back tonight and even the series. Giannis can absolutely dominate. Giannis, tell me if you agree. I thought he looked surprisingly good and nimble, and for coming off an injury in Game 1, like he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he never really was injured.
Yeah. Well, I think it was precaution. I think he could have played Game 6 or 7 of that series against the Hawks, but they didn't really need him, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I also see Giannis coming out tonight and exploding.
Yeah. Do you think the Bucks even the series or no?
I do want to take the Bucks today for the simple fact that, yeah, Giannis is going to come out and I think have a 30-10, 30-15 type of ball game.
Yeah. Some people said that the Bucks looked better without Giannis. Do you agree with that at all?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was just because it was the Hawks, right?
He's the best player on the court. You can't say that when he's the best player on the court.
Yeah. Well, Middleton, I mean, what did you think? Middleton was impressive in those 2 games without Giannis.
Yeah, but I mean, if they were better without Giannis, they would have beat the Suns in Game 1.
Well, and what it is Middleton is an excellent number 2 option, but he's not a number 1 option. And so if the Bucks were who they are now without Giannis, they're not in the Eastern Conference Finals. They need Giannis to be this type of a team. Giannis provides the Bucks with that championship ceiling. Chris Middleton is never going to give you a championship as a number 1 option. You agree?
Absolutely. So my question for you is, if the Suns fail to win this championship, is this Chris Paul's first and last opportunity?
Probably. I mean, it's definitely his best opportunity to this point in his career. He's never gone this far. He's never been in the finals. Ask Reggie Miller. Ask all these guys. Ask Karl Malone. You don't get too many of these opportunities. Ask Patrick Ewing. So for Chris Paul to have this opportunity to be in the NBA Finals, to be 3 games from his first championship, it would be a huge disappointment not to get the job done. And it would be a huge stain on his career. You know, he's got to find a way to get this done. And I think it's a prime opportunity. He's not going up against the Nets. He's going up against a Bucks team that I think is beatable. So Chris Paul and the Suns have to win this to save Chris Paul's legacy, in my opinion.
And do you think without injuries, we see a whole different type of NBA Finals?
Oh, yeah. without injuries, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but without injuries, I think we're looking at Lakers Nets right now.
I
And
agree, but I still don't think that the Lakers had enough to pull it out of the West.
I think they could have pulled it out of the West. Now, if you're saying no injuries, like a healthy Kawhi, I mean, I think healthy Clippers, healthy Lakers, that goes 7 games, and that's a pick'em series. And I think the Lakers might have enough to win that in 7. I don't think the Lakers, even fully healthy, had enough to beat the Brooklyn Nets if they're fully healthy. That's what doomed the Nets as well as injuries. Harden wasn't himself, and Kyrie was out. You know, and they still almost beat the Bucks out. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's good to see new names in there. Like
It is. It's good to have. It's fun because I don't really have a horse in the race. This year, I'm kind of just sitting back enjoying the finals. It's 2 teams that I don't hate, star players that I don't hate. It's just fun to watch them play. But my beef has been the officiating. Tell me if you agree. Do you think, like, usually I'm used to seeing officiating being soft in the regular season, and then once the playoffs start and the deeper you get into the playoffs, the more they let the players play and they let some contact go. Now, this year more than ever, they seem to be calling just as many touch fouls and soft whistles as in the regular seasons before. Do you agree?
most definitely, let the guys play, man. I mean, it's everything is on the line. Only call it if it's serious.
Yeah. Or, obvious,
Or yeah, pretty blatant. But
Yeah, I hate the touch foul calls. I've seen Devin Booker get bailed out a few times with some touch fouls in game one. Um, Chris Paul, too. You remember Chris Paul beats Giannis and then slams on the brakes and waits for Giannis to fall into his back and then puts up the shot?
yeah,
I hate that call, man.
I think they just implemented something to change that for
Yeah,
next.
next year. Yeah. But the thing is these players know that it's leaving, and so they know they can get away with it now. So Trey Young and Chris Paul and these guys are doing it like crazy while they still can, and they're still getting the calls, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, but next year it's gonna be. Do you think those changes make it for better basketball or no?
I don't know. What they're doing is maybe, but all they're doing is putting more and more and more on the officiating and saying, call this, call this. It's almost an impossible job to be an official nowadays because they have so much that they have to keep their eye on. And what they should be doing is taking less off the plate of the officials, saying, don't call that, don't call this. Instead of saying call more, they should be saying call less. And so what they're doing is, I think they're saying they're going to call an offensive foul now, right? If Chris Paul and the point guards do that. And I'm tired of the foul calls. The last thing we need is more whistles, more game stoppages. A good game to watch is a game with less whistles and more flow, more back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
It's the same thing we say about football. Is like Flag City. It's every single play is a flag, and we hate it. And I think the NFL has done a pretty good job. We still see a lot of flags during the regular season, but deep in the playoffs, Super Bowl, you see them get away with a lot more contact. And I'm seeing less of it in the NBA finals and late in the playoffs. Like they're still calling it, and I don't like that. I tweeted the NBA is the softest league right now, and Chucky Brown liked it. So
And there are many that would agree with you. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure Ricky agree.
yeah, Ricky G definitely agrees, but it is what it is. I mean, it's still fun to watch. but I got to find something to bitch about.
I was reading something about the ratings with the big names not being in there. Do you think this hurts the ratings for the NBA with names like Durant and LeBron and all them not being in it?
I don't think so. You still got big names in it. Luckily, like if Chris Paul was hurt and if Giannis was hurt, so this finals was Devin Booker versus Chris Middleton, Devin Booker and Ayton versus Middleton and Brook Lopez, like the ratings would hurt. But because Giannis is playing, he's a huge name. Chris Paul's a huge name, and the big story is can Chris Paul retire? Get a ring before he retires, get a championship while he has the opportunity. Those narratives and that stuff right there, I think the ratings are still going to be great.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I want to ask one more topic. So next year, with the free agency and the NBA, who is the Lakers' best bet to go after?
They're getting a lot of noise about Damian Lillard right now. A lot of momentum about the Lakers. Somehow, I don't know what they're going to have to do to get him, but a lot of noise about Damian Lillard. Some talk about Russell Westbrook. Some talk about Kawhi.
Steph Curry.
But Steph's not leaving Golden State. I hope Damian Lillard isn't leaving Portland.
Do you think Kawhi leaves? I mean, with him knowing that he could be healthy with Paul George, does he leave the Clippers?
I wouldn't. I don't think he does. The Clippers are close. They're good. And Paul George, people are hating on Paul George, or he had a good playoffs without Kawhi, or decent, better than some people expected. But Paul George is not a number one option, but he's a hell of a number two option. And so if they can be healthy, there's no reason the Clippers can't win a championship with if they have a healthy Serge Ibaka, or if they get some better pieces around them. You know who impressed the hell out of me this playoffs was Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
With Kawhi hurt, Reggie Jackson was like legitimately the Clippers' number two option there for a little bit, and he was killing it.
He definitely stepped up. I mean, he's not the Reggie Jackson we've seen in Detroit, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, Detroit's just a place where players suck. Like Blake Griffin, everyone thought Blake Griffin was done in Detroit, and he goes to the Clippers and goes to the Nets and still looks pretty good. Still has some gas left in the tank for sure. Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond. What's your thoughts on Drummond? Did you see all the noise about Drummond saying he's leaving LA?
Yeah, I mean, LA's probably better off without him anyways. I think he's a below average center.
Well, LA has some issues because everyone was saying the problem was Marc Gasol was too soft and not a rim protector. So then they go and get Andre Drummond, who's a rim protector and a rebounder and a shot blocker, and they don't look really any better. And then they don't give Drummond. They give Drummond 0 minutes in a Game 6 elimination game.
He was playing soft too, though, man. DeAndre Ayton was eating him up in there.
Well, what's the Lakers? Who fixes that problem? If Drummond can't do it, if Gasol can't do it, that's what I said last year when they didn't bring back Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. I said those were two big losses, and people laughed at me. And then they got knocked out of the first round this year.
Yeah, I mean, how about instead of going to focus on getting a two guard or anything, go try to get you a legit center.
Okay, I like that. Some people say they need to force Anthony Davis to play the 5 and go small ball up tempo.
I don't know. I would rather see AD be a scorer right there around the elbow and stuff,
Yeah. No, I got it. AD would much rather play the 4 than the 5. He hates playing the 5. Who would you get, though? Who's a center that will improve the Lakers? I mean, they're not getting someone like Embiid. Are they going to try and bring back Dwight?
I mean, if they could do a trade, why not try to go after like somebody like Clint Capella from Atlanta or something,
Okay, that wouldn't be bad. Is he?
or even a maybe try to trade for like a Brooke Lopez or something. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do something in there. The Lakers have the power to make a decent trade.
Do you trade Kuzma? Is he gone? Is Kuzma gone?
Yeah, I think it's time for him to leave LA. I mean, because he struggled really, really bad,
Yeah.
and so did Contavious Caldwell Pope too.
I don't know. I don't mind KCP. I think he's all right. He's a solid defender. He can stretch the defense because he can hit the open three. He's got some purpose. He's not like a starter. Stop giving him starts and then bring him off the bench.
What about Morris?
I, he's all right. You get, they're inconsistent. You get what you get out of the Morris brothers. I
Yeah,
like.
that was
Is it Marcus that's on the Clippers and Markeith on the Lakers?
yeah,
I like Marcus better.
yeah. I just think that like if Marcus would have stepped up, the Clippers definitely would have had a better shot too.
Yeah, he stepped up in Game 5, but then couldn't hit the open three in Game 6. Reggie Jackson was missing threes in Game 6. They lost confidence at some point. But they were never going to win the West without Kawhi,
Do you think them having Kawhi out was precaution, or was his knee really probably possibly hurting him?
That's the underrated thing on why Kawhi could leave the Clippers, because why he left the Spurs is when he had beef with the trainers, beef with the medical staff. And he apparently had beef with the Clippers medical staff by underselling the severity of the injury when it happened. And apparently the Clippers were saying Kawhi's day to day. Meanwhile, Kawhi is like, no, I need surgery, or I'm not playing. I'm hurt. I guess was the so if he's mad at the Clippers, maybe he does leave, because yeah, that's pretty much what people were saying. The severity of the injury was a lot worse than Clippers were leading on.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, I don't know for sure, but um, yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be
What's up?
it's gonna be a good finish though to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I think it goes 6 or 7 games. I'm hoping for 7, and I really see either team winning it. Like if the Bucks win tonight, then it's 1-1, and then it's any team can win it. A best of 5 from then on out.
Would you consider this a championship with an asterisk next to it?
No, I'm not big on that. I don't put asterisks next to championship. Championships are damn hard, no matter the circumstances. You know, championships are championships. You can never take it away. They hang a banner for it. There's no such thing as an asterisk championship in my book.
I only said that because of all the injuries.
I get it, but there's always injuries. I mean, you're talking to a Bulls fan who witnessed, Derrick Rose injuries, and I strongly believe the Bulls could have gotten at least one championship out of that team with MVP Derrick Rose. And imagine if Derrick Rose had stayed healthy, and Jimmy Butler had come on and developed the way he ended up developing with Rose.
Yeah, trust me, man. I'm a Bulls guy myself, and it hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
Knowing
So,
that
yeah.
that possibly with the talent, he could have been the greatest point guard.
Potentially. I mean, you got to win a lot of championships to be, Magic Johnson. But I agree. Like, he had the potential. He was damn good there in his prime. MVP Rose. And then you see what Butler did in Miami just last year. So
Yeah. So, what is the free agency list this year for the NBA? Do you know?
I was just looking at that a little bit. I mean, so it's up to, Kawhi has a player option, Chris Paul, player option. Um, Ibaka, player option. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, Dario Saric tearing his ACL is huge.
is it huge? I mean, it matters, but I don't
He was
know.
the DeAndre Ayton. I mean, who are you gonna bring in when Ayton's on the bench? Frank Kaminsky? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know who else they have that's got size like that. Frank the Tank. I always like Frank the Tank, but I don't know. It's
I think
big, but I don't know that it's huge.
if the Suns win the championship, I think CP3 is gonna stay with his contract.
Stay with the Suns.
Yeah, he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. This man takes teams that are irrelevant and makes them, you know, playoff teams. Like,
Well, I mean, to a point, yes, because he needs help around him too. Like, I mean, the Clippers, they were damn good. They had the best record in the NBA there for a little bit when they were Lob City, but they always underachieved in the playoffs. They couldn't even get to the conference finals. Um,
that was because DeAndre Jordan was a soft ass center.
I don't know. DeAndre Jordan in his day was a rim protector. He was valuable. Um, Chris Paul and him and Harden were in the conference finals, but did he really elevate the Rockets? Because Harden, I believe, wasn't he in the conference finals without Chris Paul with the Rockets?
Yeah, when they lost to the Warriors.
Yeah. And then what? They added Chris Paul and then lost to the Warriors again, right?
Well, Paul got injured though.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm one of those. I'm always under the. I know this goes a lot against a lot of general opinion, but when the Rockets were up 3-2 on the Warriors and Chris Paul got hurt, I said it then. I think the Warriors still win that series in 7. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll never know. But I mean, Chris Paul is a great leader, and he takes good teams and makes them great. But it doesn't always equate to playoff success. And so we can sit here and praise Chris Paul all day, but if they blow those finals and the Bucks win the championship, the narrative on Chris Paul is not going to be good. Would you
So
agree?
yeah, I agree. I mean, he's there, he's where he wants to be, and to silence everybody, you have to win it all.
So you agree with me on this. Go with me here for a second. The NBA Finals, winners and losers in the championship round, there's so much at stake, right? Whether Chris Paul wins this or loses this, the narrative on Chris Paul changes dramatically. So there's so much that goes into each championship round, each final series. So don't you agree that what matters in the championship round, what happens in the championship round matters most? Like controls narratives the most. If Giannis and the Bucks win, Giannis is going to be crowned and is going to be the Bucks savior. He's going to be the greatest thing since Kareem in Milwaukee. and they're going to try and put Giannis up there on top 10 boards already. And if Chris Paul wins a championship, they're going to say, better than Barkley because he actually delivered the Suns a championship. And they're going to try to put Chris Paul up there as in the mix for the greatest point guard of all time because that's how it goes nowadays. They jump, they take it too far. So doesn't what you do in the championship round each year matter? And doesn't that give credence and more power to the fact that you have to win finals appearances don't matter. It's whether you win or lose.
Absolutely. It's about the championships, and it has to be. I mean, you can get praise for, making it to the NBA finals like LeBron did, but at the end of the day, he only has, 4 to show for it?
Yeah, because that's my thing. Everyone keeps bringing up 8 straight finals appearances for LeBron. And cool, that's all fine and dandy, but how many championships did he get in those 8? 3.
I thought it was straight.
3 out of 8, yeah. And then he missed the playoffs, won a championship, lost in the first round in LA. But I look at those 8 and I say, weak Eastern Conference. Who did he face in the conference finals a couple of those years? The Celtics without Kyrie.
The Pacers.
Celtics, huh?
The Pacers.
The Pacers were damn good, but you had an unproven Paul George, an unproven Roy Hibbert. But I don't really hate on the Pacers. I'm hating on an injured, no Kyrie Celtics and no Isaiah Thomas Celtics. The Toronto Raptors. I mean, come on now. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. And then remember when he faced the Atlanta Hawks? When the Hawks were the 1 seed?
Yep.
Oh, my God. Talk about a bad conference final. So you give LeBron credit for the times he wins championships, absolutely. But we could sit here and say he should have more championships. And I think even LeBron fans would say absolutely. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
he should have 5 or 6.
Absolutely, especially with Miami. I don't care what nobody says. There is no way that you should have lost to that Dallas Mavericks team.
Or the Spurs. I know people want to say that Spurs team was great. That Spurs team was past their prime. They had a good bench who was hitting threes, but Duncan was past his prime. Ginobili was past his prime. Parker was past his prime. And Kawhi Leonard was not yet in his prime.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention, okay, I know it's hard to beat the Warriors, but even then, when it was just Steph and Clay before KD got there, they should have at least beat that Warriors team.
Well, I would agree, except for the fact that they were hurt. LeBron had no Kyrie and no Kevin Love that year. Like in the finals, everyone was praising, everyone was jumping on the Matthew Dellavedova train in those finals. So, but to say, I don't understand how LeBron says that beating the 2016 Warriors made him the GOAT, coming back 3-1, beating those Warriors, when that wasn't that great of a Warriors team. Yeah, they won 73 games in the regular season, but I mean, that to me is meaningless when you don't win the finals. And they added Durant that offseason. That was the greatest. That was the great Warriors team. If LeBron had been down 3-1 to the KD Warriors and come back and won the championship, then, and he says he's the GOAT, I would still disagree, but it would be more meaningful to come back and beat, that team. I don't know, especially when Draymond got suspended for what was it, Game 6.
In that Game 7, Kyrie saved them though.
Yeah, no one could hit a big shot. Steph and Clay couldn't hit a big shot, and LeBron couldn't hit a big shot. They went like the final 4 minutes of Game 7, and nobody could hit a shot. And Kyrie was the only one who came through and hit a shot. That's why, in my opinion, Kyrie's a big shot maker because of the ability to step in. I mean, the pressure doesn't get any more than in the clutch in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And so if you can hit a big shot in the clutch in Game 7 of the Finals, you're a big shot maker, in my opinion. That's why they call him Big Shot Rob, because Robert Horry could make big shots in big pressure games. Um, so, so Kyrie did that. And because the Warriors couldn't close out the Cavs and couldn't hit a big shot, that's why the Warriors went and recruited Kevin Durant, because they knew that's the biggest shot maker in the game. And Durant proved that in the next two finals.
Will Kevin Durant ever be forgiven for if you can't beat him, join him?
Yeah. I mean, there'll be haters that won't. But you know who the Kevin Durant haters are? The Kevin Durant haters are the LeBron fans. And why is that? Why does that make zero sense? Because LeBron tried to do the exact same thing Kevin Durant did. Tell me, all right, I want your honest opinion here, because LeBron fans push back on me on this. Which is worse? Kevin Durant joining the Golden State Warriors, the 73-win Warriors, or LeBron creating the super team in Miami with two top 10 players in their prime and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? Which is worse, or are they very similar?
They're very similar, but to a point, because LeBron started all this.
Yeah, well, that's my opinion, because some people say he didn't, because the reason they created the Heat Big Three was to beat the Boston Celtics. And some people consider those Celtics to be a big three. I do not, because Garnett was past his prime, Pierce was past his prime, and Ray Allen was past his prime, in my opinion. I could be wrong on Paul Pierce, but Garnett and Ray Allen were definitely past their prime, and Rondo wasn't anything yet.
The other choices LeBron had to go to, like Chicago would have been one of the teams, that LeBron had a choice in to go play with Rose.
Yeah.
Why not give it a shot with just you and Rose? I think you guys could have won several titles.
I would have. So this is what I would have done. LeBron's like the most talented player in the league at that point, right?
Yeah, at that point.
At that point, he's in his prime. He's the best player in the league. Why can't LeBron recruit Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to Cleveland? Why did he have to go to Miami? He's from Cleveland. He's from Ohio. He's from Akron. Leaving Cleveland was the biggest slap in the face to Cavs fans. Why? LeBron always said, the reason I can't win in Cleveland is I have no help. Why couldn't he get Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to go to Cleveland?
Well, I thought he didn't have a good relationship with Dan Gilbert either.
He didn't. But what does that matter if you can get Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to Cleveland and then go win championships in Cleveland with that big three?
I just don't know.
Was it that toxic? He had to get out of there?
I don't know if Wade would have left, though, man, because Wade seemed to be, before he got, or when he got out of his prime, he seemed to have never wanted to leave Miami until after, he had a downfall.
Yeah. So, okay, let's say you can't get Wade out of Miami. Can LeBron win in Cleveland with him and Bosh?
Oh man, I don't think so.
I think they could.
With
I think Bosh. Yeah, I think Bosh would have been Anthony Davis-esque. You forget. I don't know how much Raptors Chris Bosh you watched, but Chris Bosh was an MVP candidate in Toronto. He was the man, and he was like an all-star starter, I believe. And Chris Bosh would have been a much better number 2 option in Cleveland than a number 3 in Miami. He was an afterthought offensively. He was a number 3 option. It was LeBron and then Wade, and then even like Ray Allen and other guys. Like Chris Bosh was like we're going to run our offense, and Chris, you go stand in the corner for the open three.
He's the one who saved them against the Spurs, getting that rebound.
Bosh, yeah. And I believe, inexplicably, Tim Duncan was off the court for that play.
Yeah.
But, so going back to our original point, so you think Kevin Durant to Golden State was slightly worse than LeBron creating the super team in Miami?
No, I said it was even, but for the simple fact that LeBron started it all. So for them giving Kevin Durant all this kind of shit is not fair, because obviously LeBron had to go out, like you said, and get 2 top 10 players to even be able to compete for a championship.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And he was competing for championships before the Big Three in Miami. He was competing. He even went to the finals in 2007. But
I mean, like, to take him over
the top,
yes, to be able to win.
Yeah, and he didn't go back to Cleveland until he knew that he could create a Big Three in Cleveland. He only went back to Cleveland once he knew they had Kyrie, and Kyrie was playing really well. And then they had that number 1 pick of Wiggins that he could turn into Kevin Love. That's when LeBron went to Cleveland. And the thing that LeBron fans hate to bring up, they hate to remember, they love to forget, they look at this Brooklyn Nets team and say, look at them, they're bad for the NBA. Look at them with Durant and Kyrie and Harden. It's unfair. It's unwatchable, all right? But didn't the 2019 offseason, when after LeBron missed the playoffs with the Lakers and they got Anthony Davis, do you remember when the Lakers were right there with the Clippers fighting to recruit Kawhi?
Yes, I do.
So let's say Kawhi had gone to the Lakers. How in the hell is that competitive or good for the NBA? Answer me that, LeBron fans.
It's only a problem when
Durant does it.
Yeah, or anybody else in the league. I mean, because LeBron fans are never going to admit that he does wrong.
Yeah, and because Durant does the same things as LeBron, they hate him for it. And that's creating super teams. And why wouldn't Durant do that? Durant is in the same peer group as LeBron. They're going to be compared. Durant and LeBron careers are going to be compared to each other because they played in the same era. So if I'm Durant and if I'm Durant, I've got 0 rings and I'm in Oklahoma City, and I see LeBron going to Miami and creating a super team and winning 2 rings, beating me and my team in OKC, why wouldn't I be like, damn, look what LeBron can do with that great team. I would love to go get a great team myself. I would love to go get a stacked team myself and go win rings. So all Durant's doing is creating super teams the same way LeBron's trying to do it. And the only difference I see is that LeBron has 4 rings right now and Durant has 2. And we'll see if Durant can catch him or not. But the hate on the Nets is pointless, in my opinion, because the Lakers try to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, we obviously have seen, and it's proven that you don't need other major superstars to win. I mean, look at what Leonard did in Toronto.
Yeah. That was a great job in Toronto. I mean, who was his number 2 was Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, and Lowry, in my opinion, is average. I mean, he didn't really do anything this past season.
Lowry, in my opinion, is a 3rd option. He's not a 2nd option. So what Kawhi did in Toronto was very impressive. Now, he had Ibaka, he had Pascal Siakam, he had Van Vliet, Marc Gasol. He had some pieces for sure. And most people say the only reason they won is because of Golden State's injuries. But I mean, injuries are a part of every championship run. They absolutely are.
How do we know though? I mean, I think that would have still been a competitive season because Kawhi was hitting on all cylinders, and I think if there was a man who was able to stop or slow down Kevin Durant, it would have been Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, well, I would have loved to have seen it. When Durant came back, I believe it was for game 5, and Durant scored like a quick 9 points, like 3 threes in the first 5 minutes of the game, and then he blew out his Achilles. We were about to see an epic ending to that finals. When Durant was coming back, I was like, damn, this shit's about to go 7 games, and it's going to be Durant versus Kawhi. And then Durant blew out his Achilles, so that was really depressing. And then Clay blew out his knee, and then it was about over. But even then, even with all those injuries, if you remember, in Game 6, Steph Curry had a really good look, and I believe would have been a game-tying 3
Yeah.
at the end of Game 6, and he missed it.
So, do you think Klay Thompson is ever going to come back and be Klay again?
I do. I might be in the minority there, but I do think he can still come back and still be damn good because he's an elite shooter. So he might lose some of his athleticism and some of his quickness, but he can still knock it down as well as anybody.
Okay. What do you think is the ceiling for Devin Booker?
Very high. I like Devin Booker, and he's proving more and more. But we'll see. He's got a lot to prove. He's trying to get his entire game better and better and better. I'd like to see him continue to get better on the defensive side, but he can score and he can create. I like him. He's a competitor for sure.
Can he be that type of Dwayne Wade, type of superstar that is possible to be?
I don't think he'll be Dwayne Wade. I don't think he'll be quite that good, but he's got a lot of Klay Thompson in him.
So the Kobe comparisons, they should all stop with that right now?
Yeah, I understand. They're always going to compare Jason Tatum and Devin Booker. Who was it? Was it Stephen A. comparing Booker to Kobe?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Stephen A. has really lost it lately, man. I had to say that.
Man, Stephen A., Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins, all these guys suck, man.
Rachel Nichols.
Yeah, she sucks.
How is she even allowed to be on the jump right now with the comments she made?
I think it's got a couple weeks left and the jump will be gone too. I really do. I think the jump's on its way out. Yeah, it's just terrible. But yeah, Booker's not in the Kobe conversation yet. Maybe 5 years down the road, we'll see what type of player he is then. But no, he's not there yet. Kobe was a damn good defender, and Kobe was a winner. Booker, what did Devin Booker do before Chris Paul got there? He couldn't even get the Suns to the playoffs.
No, that's true.
So I'm not a hater of Devin Booker. I like him, but we'll see where he's at in 5 years. This little Donovan Mitchell is the greatest Jazz player of all time, and Devin Booker is the next Kobe. That shit's got to stop. That shit's got to stop. Those are terrible takes. And Kendrick Perkins said today, he said DeAndre Ayton is David Robinson 2.0. Like, I don't know if these guys are smoking crack on a regular basis, but they got to stop.
Did they even watch? It makes me wonder if they even actually sat down and watched a full Kobe Bryant game or a full
David Robinson. I think Kendrick Perkins has forgot that David Robinson once scored 73 in a game. And David Robinson, I believe, is the last player to get a quadruple double.
What were people on Twitter saying after he said that? Were they like dogging him about it?
Yeah, absolutely. The ones that know NBA history are like, how can this be? How does ESPN and Fox Sports 1 allow this content to be on their networks? That's my question. How can ESPN, the quote unquote worldwide leader in sports, sit there and say and allow Stephen A to say Hunter Henry and to say Devin Booker is the next Kobe and say Donovan Mitchell is greater than Karl Malone? How can they actually do that and put their stamp of approval on it?
We need to go.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They need us to go and invade ESPN and show what sports is really supposed to be talked about.
If ESPN supports that, I don't want to go to ESPN. Like, I know we're small time. I don't want to go to ESPN, bro. Put me on a network that appreciates real takes, appreciates real sports knowledge. Don't put me on ESPN where it's a narrative controlled network and it's prop up today's athlete like they're the greatest thing ever and ignore the great history of these games. It's like sitting here and saying Derrick Henry is the greatest running back of all time and ignoring Walter Payton and Jim Brown and Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith is ignorance, and I don't see that in the NFL. Huh?
Who said that?
Nobody, but like that, it's the same take. You know, it's like saying Derrick Henry is head and shoulder the best Titans running back of all time, and forgetting that Eddie George and what's his name, Campbell, that Campbell running back, and Eric Dickerson, and these guys didn't play for him. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I know this is an NBA segment, but I just have to say this since we're talking about ESPN. Do you agree with Mike Tannenbaum when he said that the Bengals are going to regret drafting Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert?
No, I do not. You know what I think the Bengals are going to regret? They're going to regret not taking Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
But will they regret taking Joe Burrow? No. And I think, honestly, this is a pretty hot take right now, and you might not agree with me here. I think Justin Herbert is going to take a step back this year.
Ooh.
I don't think Justin Herbert, I think this is a lot of recency bias. I don't think Justin Herbert is the elite quarterback that everyone thinks he is.
Okay. It's not that I don't agree. I just want to hear your reason why. Why?
Because I don't think, like, he had a good rookie year, but the NFL adjusts. It always does. Like, who else has had a great rookie year? RG3. Who else has had a great rookie year? You know, like,
injured though.
Huh? Yeah, I got hurt. That was kind of a bad take, but like, I got to see it to believe it. I'm not ready, and he might be good. I'm not saying he's not going to be. I want to see Justin Herbert do it for a couple years in a row before I say that he's going to be better than Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is a can't miss prospect. Him and Trevor Lawrence are very close to the top two prospects that we've seen in a long time. And Herbert might be good, but I need to see another year. And the division's only getting tougher. You can crown Justin Herbert all you want, but if the Broncos trade for Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you could say right now, who's better, Justin Herbert or Derek Carr?
Oh, Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So Patrick Mahomes is clearly better. So Justin Herbert, we're gonna say he's like we're gonna say he's a can't miss prospect and he's a great quarterback when he's the third best quarterback in his division. Like, let's give it some time. Let's see if Justin Herbert can carry his team to the playoffs before we say he's great. And so I understand a little bit of concern on Joe Burrow, the big injury early on, but let's see how he does.
Aren't the Chargers better than the Bengals?
Yes. The Chargers
So
team is better than the Bengals, and that's why they had more success. But even then, the Chargers didn't have that much success. Where'd they go?
but I think the team would be able to take Herbert a little bit farther than what the Bengals could take Burrow.
I don't think either team is a playoff team in 2021.
Hell no, because the Cleveland Browns are in that division.
I don't think the Cleveland Browns are a playoff team in 2021.
Whoa! You smoked before you came on here, bro?
I did, but that's got nothing to do with it.
Wow.
That's my hottest take, probably right there.
Woo. I can't get over that, bro. Come on.
I got the Ravens and Steelers bouncing back in a big way.
All right, where do you have my Indy team? Playoffs or not?
Playoffs. Well, borderline. I think I think playoffs. I think 10-6 is attainable.
Wow.
But I think the Titans are going to win that division by a game or two.
Boo.
I think the Colts make the playoffs, and we'll see. I think the Colts are very similar to what they were last year.
The AFC is going to come down to the Bills and Chiefs again, right?
The Bills will be good. The Steelers. Keep an eye on the Steelers. Keep an eye on Pittsburgh this year. I think the addition of Najee Harris is very underrated.
I like that pickup, dude. Actually,
Yeah.
I said in the involuntary workouts and stuff that Najee Harris was looking fast and
A
quick.
beast. Yeah. The best running back the Steelers have had since Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion. And the reason the Steelers flamed out last year is because they had zero running game. And if you go back and watch that Browns playoff game, I believe Ben Roethlisberger threw the ball like 70 times that game.
Yeah, he did, and that ended up hurting his elbow. I mean,
Yeah. You
making
can't
his
do that.
elbow injury worse.
Yeah, you can't do that to prime Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. No quarterback should be throwing the ball 70 times. So I think Najee Harris and then the other young backs they have, as change of pace guys, but feed Najee Harris, then that opens it up for Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson and these other weapons for the Steelers, Juju, and is Juju still there? He is, right?
Yeah, Juju's still there.
Yeah, and so that opens it up, and I expect the Steelers to bounce back. I mean, people forget the Steelers were what, 9-0?
11-0.
11-0. So they were a good team. They were a damn good team for a while, and then they fell off and lost their composure. I expect them to be better. I think the Steelers could go like 12-4 and make a deep run, maybe with Steelers Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Didn't they lose a couple key defensive players though?
That Dupree.
Yeah, Dupree's gone
to Tennessee of all teams.
Oh man, yeah. You just had to bring that up.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying the Titans are going to be damn good. Adding Bud Dupree, adding Julio Jones.
Danico Autry.
Huh?
Danico Autry.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait to get the NFL going here in the next week or two. We're going to get the NFL going. We're going to have Kyle Banks and some of these big name guys on to help break down some teams, do our team preview. So NBA Finals starting right now. Let's go watch that game. Thanks for coming on, Dustin.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me. It's been a minute. I'm going to remain patient, and we're going to do our thing.
Yeah, we will. We'll have an episode out. We'll try next week. We'll have one out in 2 weeks at least. And I appreciate you coming on, Dustin.
Hold up.
Thanks, guys, for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say shout out and congrats to the Tampa Bay Lightning for going back to back.
Yeah. Hell of a job by the Lightning. I got the Bucks in game 2. Who you got?
I am going to go with the Bucks.
All right. And then shout out to my guy Dushime. Did you see that thing I posted with Dushime getting Floyd Mayweather to give him a shout out?
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Yeah, my guy Dushime is doing big things. So shout out Dushime. And we got some really interesting interviews coming up. We got a lot of good stuff on deck. We got like a whole different array of stuff coming up. We've got like a legendary NBA head coach on deck. We got some NFL guys coming back on, some new guys coming on. We even got like a professional major league fishing guy thinking about coming on. So uh, stay tuned. A lot of stuff on deck. Appreciate the support, guys, and have a great week. Peace out.